Is there something you want to learn but don't know where to start? Do you feel like you don't have the time to devote yourself into learning it? Regardless of whether you find yourself in either one of these situations, or if you simply want to expand your knowledge and skill set, there are techniques that can make learning almost anything fast and efficient. These tips will outline some of the methods you can take to learn anything fast. Tip number 1. Eliminate distractions. The biggest thing standing between most people and efficient learning is distractions. In today's world, it's easier than ever to be distracted. From checking your email every 5 minutes to simply zoning out in front of a computer screen. But if you're trying to learn anything complex, you can't let yourself get sidetracked. To eliminate distractions and increase your focus, try creating an environment that doesn't allow for distraction. Turn off your phone, close all other browser windows or whatever works for you. Just make sure that when you sit down to study or practice something new, there are no other things vying for your attention. If you find yourself getting sidetracked anyway, don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge what happened and move on. Tip number 2. Previewing. When it comes to understanding a new topic, you might think that the more time you spend with it, the more you'll learn. In fact, all that time can lead to too much information and confusion. Instead, read through your book or material once quickly before moving on to deep study. You'll not only retain more information by processing less material, but also avoid potential confusion when recalling the topic later on. An easy way to do so is by scanning the entire chapter first before reviewing specific sections that pertain most closely to your situation. A quick scan gives you a bird's eye view of everything included in your reading material, which means you won't miss anything important. It also helps if you find yourself confused as to where something should be located within your text. For example, if you're looking for details about how to make spaghetti sauce from scratch but found yourself instead learning how to make sauce from canned tomatoes, just skip ahead until you find those details. Tip number 3. Plan the reading system. The best way to learn anything quickly is to create a strategic and organized learning plan. One really effective system for both retention and application is called the Feynman technique, named after Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman, who once said, "I can remember what I read almost without effort, because when I get interested in a subject, I like to read everything about it. But I don't have to remember all that I've read. If I want to use any part of it, I just look it up again. That's why my memory is so good." One of the most essential reasons for Feynman's success was his awareness of the distinction between comprehending and knowing the name of something. He could never be satisfied with simply knowing something's name. He desired a better understanding. Tip number 4. Don't read every word or paragraph. Skim over text to find what most interests you and go deeper from there. If a section is boring, just skip it. Just because a passage seems relevant doesn't mean it is. If your interest in it diminishes quickly, don't bother with it. This will help you save time and retain more information. Don't feel like you need to absorb every word or paragraph either. You're not expected to read everything in depth. With practice, skimming will become second nature and reading faster will become automatic. This technique is particularly useful for science-based subjects where many passages are extremely similar, such as anatomy, or when going through books containing lots of facts, such as history. The human brain can process images much faster than text, so once you know how something looks, you may be able to recognize it without even reading about it. Tip number 5. Take down notes and write summaries. To learn anything fast, you need to start by taking good notes in your classes. This helps you do your homework efficiently and effectively. As it turns out, writing something down is one of your best ways to remember it later on. It's called a memory trace. The more sensory details we include when we write something down, the easier it is for us to recall later on. Spatial relations between ideas are crucial. If you want to be able to remember information quickly, then it makes sense that arranging those bits of information into some sort of visual map would help tremendously with recall. The key here is to link as many pieces of information together as possible. The more associations you can make or spatial relations you can create between new pieces of information and old ones, the faster they will come back to you later on. Tip number 6. Use good note-taking techniques. Note-taking is a crucial part of active learning, and outlining notes is an easy way to keep them straight. The outline method breaks down every class into a straightforward line that breaks up study time throughout your day. You learn about new concepts in 1 or 2 classes and then spend a few minutes that night adding these concepts onto your outline so you don't forget them. If you make an organized outline for every class, those outlines will keep track of important details for you. This method involves creating a basic outline for each class and breaking it down into manageable chunks. The first key point should be listed at the top of your page as an overview. Then, below that heading, list 3 to 5 bullet points with additional information about what was just discussed. Tip number 7. Spaced repetition. This technique is particularly effective for long-term retention of learned material. As an example, if you know how to solve a quadratic equation in its general form using synthetic division, then simply applying that knowledge on a number of different types of problems will result in your ability to retain that information over time. The concept behind spaced repetition stems from research into memory and cognitive functions. The theory is that repeated exposure to something helps us learn and remember better than just one exposure does, because our brain has more opportunities to store memories about it. In other words, 2 exposures are better than 1, 3 are even better, and so on. Kinda like how muscle memory works in your body clock. Tip number 8. Distributed sessions. Make your practice sessions more effective by spreading them out across multiple days, says Robert Bjork, PhD, author of Making Things Hard on Yourself. If you study a little bit each day for several days in a row, then take a break from studying. You'll remember more than if you studied in one sitting, he explains. Bjork's research has also shown that breaking up your learning over several days leads to better long-term retention than cramming. So try scheduling 2 or 3 short study sessions per week, and set aside some time every few days to remember what you learned earlier in those sessions. You want to create a sense of continuity so that you can put things together and see how they fit together, Bjork says. And you want to make sure that there are enough gaps between study sessions so that when you come back to something, there is still an element of novelty and surprise. Tip number 9. Experiment with mnemonic devices. Mnemonic devices can help you learn anything faster. You've probably heard of mnemonics before, but if not, they're simple tools that use association and repetition to make learning easier. Acrostics are similar to acronyms except they use rhyming words instead of letter combinations. Take for example, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, commonly known as PEMDAS for the order of operations in mathematics. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. This learning style dates back to ancient Greek times. Mnemonic devices act as memory aids to help you translate pieces of information from short-term memory to long-term memory. Tip number 10. Take several approaches of studying. There are many ways to learn beyond textbooks and lectures. For example, consider audiobooks or even podcasts, which are great ways to learn while driving or doing chores around the house. The key is finding something that works for you and sticking with it until you know everything there is to know about your subject matter. You can try out this method by taking several approaches to studying. First, read a textbook chapter and highlight what you think will be important later on. Then, watch a lecture on YouTube that covers similar material. Tip number 11. Take random quizzes. Random quizzes are a fun and effective way to steer your memory. To get things going, search for free online quizzes about your topic of interest. Try sites like Quizlet or Sporkle for more interactive options that let you create your own flashcards for your study list. And then quiz yourself with these newfound study materials. A bonus is that quizzes often include supplementary materials like sample problems or definition of terms, which can help cement knowledge in your mind. When it comes to learning anything fast, getting feedback is important. When you're first starting out a new topic, make sure to take random quizzes whenever possible. Not only will these tests help your brain remember key facts, they'll also give you immediate feedback on how well you understand those facts. And tip number 12. Take good care of your body. Before even starting, know that you have to put in some effort if you want to take advantage of your brain's capabilities. Eat well, exercise, don't drink too much. All of these actions will make a difference in how quickly and effectively you learn new things. If you treat your body like a temple, then your mind will be able to operate at its full potential. Don't skimp on sleep. You might think that all-nighters are an effective way to cram for tests or finish projects on time, but sleep deprivation actually slows down learning and limits our ability to retain information. When you give yourself enough rest, your mind is more alert when you start studying or practicing a skill. Don't underestimate how much time you spend on a task. Timing yourself could mean your day is ending sooner than you think. Learn how to learn fast and master new skills quickly. Remember, learning anything fast is going to require some work, but that's what makes it so rewarding. You'll have another skill under your belt and will be able to tackle any problems with ease and confidence. Well, that's it for today's video. Please tell us which tip works best for you in the comment section. We'd love to hear that. And as always guys, don't forget to subscribe and give us a huge thumbs up. Thanks for watching and we'll see you at the next one.